Welcome to episode 8 of the Parts Avatar podcast. We're here once again with a special guest. We have Mr. Dane from True North Auto Salon, one of the better known wrap shops in I guess you could say GTA, Ontario area, because you are a little bit west.
Slightly,
right?
Yeah, slightly in Milton.
Milton.
Yeah,
So most people would say that's pretty west, especially if you're Scarborough. Because people in Scarborough tend to think that they're downtown Toronto for some reason.
I think once you cross over a certain point, I don't know if it's the 410 or 427. Then it becomes different territory.
Yes.
But, it's I mean, it doesn't stop some of my customers from coming through. So
no, hopefully it doesn't.
No.
Good. And obviously, since we have a wrap master here or a wrap meister here, we could say that today's topic is going to be revolving around wraps.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we'll kind of leave it to not a specific topic. We'll just open it up to wraps in general.
Right.
Me and Dane already had a little bit of banter. I'm no wrap meister by any means, but I have wrapped 2 cars, so I'll say that I have a little bit of experience.
Right.
You know what? Let's start with that. How many cars have you wrapped?
I've lost track. It is funny though, because I actually thought about it the other day, and
in preparation for this podcast.
No, this is actually just before you messaged me, and I was just like, how many has it been so far? And I've just lost track. And it's not even just cars; it's a variety of different things,
Oh, yeah.
I wrapped a table once. Didn't go well.
No, it's pretty flat. I
don't know what it was. It was either I didn't do good material because I got it from a craft shop. And I went to wrap a table and I gave up and I ended up painting it because I was like, this looks terrible.
It's actually funny you say that. I'm going to be wrapping a couple tables with 3M Dynoc film.
Dynoc film. I haven't heard that line. Which line is that?
We can definitely get into that. That's a different department in the wrap world. So you have like car wraps, and this is an architectural film.
Oh, architectural film. My extent of knowledge is there's like the cast calendar vinyl.
Yeah.
And then there's the better they're both airrelease, but like the cast is in conformability because the cast is pre-shrunk or something like that.
Yeah, so for car wraps they have specific films, like 3M 2080 as an example. That's like I work a lot actually with 3M.
Yes.
So their products there, as well as Avery. KPMF is actually another really good one.
Oh, KPMF. So they've stepped up, eh?
Yeah, they've changed. Their adhesive used to be very tacky, and and then they changed that up, and it's like their color, their finishes are actually very, very nice. Oh, so I would say give that a shot too. But there's a variety of different wraps out there, different manufacturers. But the Dynoc stuff is it's a completely different world. So basically, it's you have something that is okay. So I'll give you an example of a personal example. So I purposely bought a dining table like that was just destroyed in a way.
Yeah,
like it had like just damages on it,
scratches, stuff like that.
You name it, right? I bought it for like $75, and then I ended up getting some 3M vinyl that it has wood grain on it. And I just rewrap the thing, and nobody knows.
Oh, yeah. There's a life hack.
It's like the difference of fake carbon and real carbon.
Yeah, well,
it's not a real table anymore.
Think of it from from a commercial standpoint, right? Yeah. You have a good example is like hotels, right?
Yeah.
So hotels, when they revamp, when they redesign the hotel, they'll have say each hotel door is a fire rated door.
Yes.
It's around I think $1,500 a door.
Yes.
So if they had to change that to a different style of wood or a different pattern, what'll end up happening is they're throwing all that out.
Yeah.
They have to rebuy them at $1,500 a pop, right? Where we can just kind of go in there and change that up and refinish it to something different at a fraction of the cost.
So it's just a different look.
Completely different look. It's like kind of like having your car wrapped, except this adhesive is very, very permanent, I would say.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
So like with your car, you can wrap and unwrap it quite easily, I'd say. Obviously, cheaper vinyls, they'll require a little more heat, a little more love, as compared to more high end or stuff. You could say. I've heard a few horror stories of some of the very easy to install wraps because they're very thin, breaking up over longer periods of time because you know what? Maybe let's get into this topic because you said that Dynac, what was it called? Dynoc is like it's a pretty permanent application, right? For a car wrap, like how long do you suggest having a car wrapped for?
So with Dynoc, just to separate, Dynoc is a completely different application. So
Yeah.
So we'll just put that aside for a moment. But if it's a car wrap, basically the manufacturer will dictate their durability. And it's also zoned. So if you're in Canada, if you're in Arizona, if you're in wherever, because the sun's going to hit differently, the salt, the winter, all that kind of stuff. So basically, I generally say like most wraps, I would say up to 5 years. And it also comes down to how the customer takes care of the vehicle after that, right? So I try to like I have a process with my customers even leading up to before I wrap. I want to find out what their driving habits are, where they usually drive. Do you go to a cottage often, do this, do that?
Yeah.
And you help kind of guide them down that right choice. And then, hopefully it works out. Like I think most of my customers are really good with taking care of the vehicle.
Yeah.
And I have the odd one that's just like, it's dirty. Let's just take a rag and wipe it. I'm like, don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
No different than paint, really.
Yeah.
Right? It'll scratch it.
And I can even
dirty
give you
rag.
Yeah.
What's the point of that? It's not even cleaning anything at that point.
No. And even on that, like real world application, right? I've had 2 cars that have been wrapped with Vivid. We'll get into the topic of Vivid a bit later.
Right.
But my Jetta was wrapped Ghost Blue, or it was matte metallic blue, and I only had it that color for about 2 years, I could say. But to my eyes, after the 2 years, it was in pretty good shape. It just like, it's sort of lifting in spots because like I do a lot of mileage. I think on that wrap, though I've only had it 2 years, I think I did over 50,000 kilometers. More. I'd say like closer to 100,000 K on it, which most people like maybe in those typical 5 years of a stance car ownership, they won't do that much mileage, right? Whereas, like I compared the rally art that you saw also with Vivid, did barely any miles, but the state of it after 3 years, it looks ruined, right? In comparison, mine still had the original finish. It had just imperfections of lifting in spots. This one, the color's not even in spots. It's lifting badly in spots. It's come off completely in spots.
Well, that was in maintenance too, right? Like if you get a wrap, you got to take care of it.
Exactly.
And like whoever owned that car before didn't really do the
sadly
it
wasn't that deeply like meticulously maintained. Like my wrap was also ceramic coated on top, and it got wrap coats on top, so that helped with the color, longevity, UV protection. This one was not, right? Which is a big factor, and they're both matte metallic colors, right?
So the one that was not ceramic coated, that one didn't last as long.
No, it did not.
Okay. Yeah. Like to your point, it really comes down to, how you take care of the vehicle, and also the, because you didn't have both vehicles from the initial point of wrap, right? Like did you purchase one that was already wrapped? Just so I understand.
No, my Jetta. So my story is even funnier if you want to get into it. My Jetta was plasti-dipped first, peeled off the plasti-dip, then it got wrapped. Right. This rally art, it was bought with some paint issues. The paint was just fixed, so primered, sanded, like it was smoothed out and then wrapped.
Right.
So the rally art was big portion wrapped by me and a buddy, right? Whereas the Jetta was also wrapped by me in a wrap shop, right? So it's very different vibe.
Yeah. And
so wrap care is a big factor into how the longevity of your wrap is basically what I'm getting down
1,000%.
to. Yeah.
1,000%. In fact, I talk a lot of customers in most cases out of the matte finishes, because I feel like the matte finishes, one, fingerprints, you'll see every fingerprint. It's like a sponge, right?
It's very meticulous. I mean, I don't know if this is remotely the same, but I had a wrapped, I had a matte orange Prelude at one time, and when I had to take to the mechanic, the oil spots would remain on my orange paint, and I could not get it off. And I don't think it had anything to do with the paint itself, like the paint job. I think it had to do with because it was matte. Yeah, it just wouldn't wash off.
It's like a sponge. There's no like real protective layer over top that makes it easy to wipe. So you're like, okay, like, so anybody with kids, so I get a lot of like Tesla customers.
Yeah.
They'll message and they'll say, hey, I want to wrap my Tesla. Well, why? Because they're white is it's the free color right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, you'll pay about $2,000 to $3,000 for a different color. So they just choose to wrap it. You have a protective layer, so on and so forth. So I'm like, okay, do you have children? And they're like, yeah, I got kids. I'm
So
like,
oily McDonald's fingers.
Yeah, you get, well, even like we have natural oils in our hands.
Yeah.
Right. So even that.
My screen is covered.
Swirl marks, but like you can take even a swatch, but just take, and I do this as an example to my customers, and I'll just take my fingernail and like just lightly graze it, and you'll see like marks. Now that can go away with heat, but you don't have a heat gun with you all the time, right?
Yeah,
You know,
it's
just the pain.
Just take a lighter.
Exactly.
So
I don't know if I'd recommend that, but
so switching it up to like a satin black would be much better, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Or satin finish, and that's usually where I like to. That's like my favorite finish, I would say.
Satin. I think that's what we're going with for the
satin white. Is the idea for the Beamer. You know, like from a point of laziness too, because then you don't have to wrap the door jambs. You can get away with like, oh, the door jambs are white. That's fine, right? Because I have cars that you like the Rally Art's another great example. It's like octane blue or rally blue underneath, and you can see. You open the door, you can see, right?
Yeah.
So you got to just like wrap a bit further, stuff like that. Sometimes if you're not doing door.
What
jams.
about when the door's closed?
You can't really tell, right? That's all. But for me, it's like I open the door and it's like, oh, it doesn't look great, right? Yeah.
That's something I wanted to touch on. Like, how meticulous is it? Like, how hard is it to actually get the inside of door jambs? Because then you have you have the wires going to the speakers, and you have all the controls, the window controls, and all that stuff. Like
the way I look at it is like, where do you stop?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're gonna do under the hood. Are you gonna do the trunk? Like when you pop, are you your gas cap? Are you gonna do like where do you stop?
Yeah.
So and then when most people see the price tag associated with that, they don't want to do it. Like I just did one on a Bronco because it was a red Bronco and she wanted just black.
Okay.
And it's a little bit different because she takes the doors off the vehicle when she rides, right? So
okay,
so that's a little different.
But I feel it's a little different for you too, because you're able to take the doors off to wrap those sections.
You usually, like, I mean, I'm gonna say if you want it done right, you're taking the door off. You gotta clean it too. That's the big thing. And people have undercoat and they have all that kind of stuff there. So you have to prep. You have to clean all that off. And and then if you want a proper job, that's the only way to do it. Like that's why, like most people, and it's like one of those things with styles of wrap. Like, how do you approach a wrap? How is it that what's your style? It's like, I don't know if you guys are fight fans, but they say like styles make fights.
Yeah,
it's a similar kind of thing with wrap in a sense. Like, what's your style, right? Like so I'm very much a remove everything that I have to, so I have access. Clean it and then wrap it, reinstall.
That comes with everything. It's honestly just it boils down to laziness and time.
Yeah.
Like even if you paint your calipers, if you don't completely prep the job, like sand everything down and clean everything properly, the caliper job is going to end up crap. Like I've seen people just tape everything off and then spray paint. I'm like, that's going to look awful in less than 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like
so actually on that topic, it is 50% prep. It's also materials, because a great example is I had a buddy that took off his calipers completely off the car, spray painted them, cleared them, then reinstalled them. And what I did is I did it on the car, right? I basically put a bag over the rotor and sanded it down, spray painted. Mine lasted twice as long as his, right?
Well, you sanded and cleaned them.
No, but he did. Funnily enough, I did 3 coats and I did 1 coat of clear.
Right.
And he did 3 and 3.
3 and 3.
Yeah. So he went heavier.
Different spray, different.
Same brand actually, VPR or whatever.
Yeah. The Canadian Tire one. Like, is that a Canadian Tire one?
The Canadian Tire one. The Canadian Tire one.
Right.
It came down to where we drove. Right.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like he got all the little spots that I didn't in the back and stuff maybe, but when we parked next to each other, people were like, oh, you just painted yours, and his looked like they've been there for like painted 3 years ago, and he painted them more recently than me, right?
Do you clean yours?
I did, yeah.
Did he clean his?
Yeah, he did too.
Okay.
Okay. Then that's a failed experiment. We have no idea.
You should do it again.
Well, it's more of like like he had to like there's a spot that gets ruined, right? And you can't predict how much like they'll get ruined in a spot like that. So sometimes is it worth the extra effort if it'll get chipped up like that in spots like that? Like the back of your caliper, are you going to see it? Not really.
The back of the caliper, like close to the
like the bracket, well? The back of the bracket and stuff.
No.
So I didn't bother painting mine, right? So when I had to go to repaint it, I only had the spots I already painted before. He'd probably take it off, repaint the whole thing again, right? Yeah. Anyways, we're on the wrap topic, not on the painting caliper.
Yeah. I was just talking about prep, though.
Yeah, we were. I don't know where I went with that tangent.
It's all right. Yeah. So where were we?
Let's go back to proper
prep
prep and wraps, but let's go back to the topic that we put aside, so we don't forget about it. The different types of materials with the 3M
materials.
You were mentioning colors before.
Yeah,
we started. Yeah. You want to, I guess, let everybody know what your thoughts were, and then I can kind of just fill you in on what I know in regards to the color selections and things like that.
I don't know anything.
Oh yeah, actually, so one thing that we did talk about is obviously trends in wrap have changed, and though I haven't had that much experience, as much as Dane at least, in the wrap world, I've worked with wrap shops, doing driven show and other stuff. I've seen it a lot, and it's crazy to me how brands have changed so much, and some haven't. Because I remember when I got in the wrap game, everyone, it's kind of the same as today, wasn't happy with Vivid and their quality. But it was the same set at the time of KPMF just came out, I think, or...
KPMF has been out for a long time. I think, if I remember correctly, they're the OGs.
Are they?
They're from the UK. They just got bought by Oracle, actually.
See, and that's another topic. Yeah. Like here in Canada, I don't see Oracle that often. Comparably to the others.
I'll tell you, because I spoke to my rep at Oracle, and I actually let him know, because the brands that I would usually kind of look at it, so 3M, Avery, KPMF, there's Oracle, there's a new one, Metamark.
There's so many. There's TechWrap,
Nosotech. Which I heard those are the same thing, basically.
They come from the same manufacturers, from what I've heard. Yeah. And their finishes are very similar, and I can attest to it because my car is a Nosotech Crystal Blue Pearl, and my cousin had TechWrap Mossy Green, and the finishes looked very similar.
Right. Yeah.
But then there's Oracle, right? You were gonna go into that.
Their marketing. That's the thing. They have a color change, division, and they haven't really marketed it that well. And that's when I spoke to my rep, and I believe he's a national rep. I was just like, dude, I heard you guys bought KPMF.
Yeah.
Is it because of they have, I think, a different selection of colors? Is it because people are kind of becoming a little more familiar with their colors and whatever have you? And I really think it comes down to the marketing of Oracle. Oracle, one of my first wraps I've ever done was on a Forester, and it was with Oracle, and it still lasted I think it was 7 years later.
Yeah.
And it was still there. I mean, mind you, I would have probably said to pull it off.
Yeah, but it was still there lasting. And because I'm from the European scene more, and I go back to Europe every year. So I was at Ultrace, the event.
No.
Okay, Ultrace is one of the biggest tuner events in Europe, at least in Eastern Europe. It happens in Poland, my home country. And I went, and almost every single car there is Oracle. I went by Oracle. I was like, holy crap! No one uses Oracle, and they're like, it's good. It's pricing is good. It's like you just pay a little more than some of the cheap stuff, and you get much better quality, much better colors. And I think a big thing is shipping, because they have manufacturing out closer to the EU, I think, right? I don't know where they're manufactured.
Their quality is good.
Yeah.
It's just that people don't they have nice different hues of color.
Yeah.
I'll give right now they just dropped a few gold. It doesn't mean it's going to apply to everybody, right?
Yeah.
But I have a good customer of mine with a Stagio, and he wants to do the what's the gold from Nissan for the Skyline? Do you know? No.
I wouldn't know.
I can't think
from
of it.
Skyline.
Yeah.
The GTRs,
it's
right?
a GTR. It has a gold. Oh, I just had a Millennium Jade.
Oh, Millennium J.
Yeah, it's like a goldish kind of hue to it, I believe.
But Millennium J, yeah. It has a kind of greenish tinge to it, though, doesn't it?
I mean, jade would technically be the green.
Yeah,
but every time,
yeah,
every picture that we've seen, it has like a gold to it.
It does. Yeah, Millennium J is Sylvia color, 240SX color as well. So
exactly.
it was like it was limited color, but still.
Yeah, so we're trying to match that. So they had a gold that they dropped that's very like close enough.
Yeah.
To that, so they have this like the interesting thing is like, you know, they'll have that hue of red or hue of green or whatever that's just different, but just people don't know too much about it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, my go-to is, like I said, I would say 3M, Avery, and KPMF. Yeah.
And honestly, from my perspective of doing the few wraps I've done or helped with wraps, 3M it's been so easy to put down, but everything has its plus and minuses because quality of 3M longevity, I have not seen it hold up, because rock chips like no tomorrow compared to even my Vivid, right?
Vivid's thicker, I think.
Thick, very thick,
but
compared to it.
You're not buying a wrap film for that. Like stone chip's a stone chip, right?
Yes,
you can never predict
when it'll happen.
Exactly. Like what you're buying it for is, well, one, like how's the color, how's the even the removability. A lot of people don't realize that the removability is super important. So I've had multiple 3M wraps that I've removed and it's been fine underneath. And I've had some other films that I've used that it left adhesive behind, which is not. It's also because it takes a certain technique. To remove that particular film. 3M, you can kind of be sloppy with it and kind of just like, all right, heat it and just work it and whatever else will come out. But certain films, you have to pull in a certain way.
Oh yeah, I've seen people removing wraps without heat, and I'm like, oh, you got to heat that, man. You're gonna pull paint off or other stuff. Even on my Vivid was quite nice to remove. And it had a bit of mileage, but then I've heard people that have had Vivid and they've pulled off like paint. So in full honesty, I pulled off paint on my Jetta with my Vivid.
Was it repainted?
But the no one sanded the primer before layering the paint, so it was not prepped. It was a repainted door I threw on. Right. So it wasn't the original. Like the rest of the car was original paint. This door got dinged and it ended up getting replaced and blah blah blah. Right. So it was the one door that I didn't know the paint history of, and clearly someone just sprayed right after primer, or like the primer was too hard and stuff. So Tony's just pointing at himself.
I'm so lazy. Yeah. That would be what I would do.
Yeah. So I was heating and pulling like all the other doors, and then a whole chunk of paint came off, and I was like, I remember this because it was like 10 p.m. and I called my body shop guy because my car was supposed to go in like in 2 days for a wrap, and I'm like, Sean, can you paint a door for me? And he's like, oh yeah, like next week. I'm like, no, like tomorrow. And it was like Sunday night. I call him,
but it'll have to outgas though.
Oh, because I got it painted and then I took it to the wrap shop and they're like, did you just get it painted? I'm like, yeah. Like, okay, we'll do it in a week or two.
Yeah, exactly.
What, they had to wait anyways?
Yeah. Oh. So that's why I whipped around my Jetta Silver for like a month in 2022, I think it was. 22. So,
yeah.
Well, I remember when you were whipping around the Silver Jetta, and I was like, is this your new paint job or wrap job? And you're
everyone,
like, oh no, I'm just waiting to get it wrapped.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, everyone was because the main, and kind of like what you were kind of alluding to with the reason for wrap, my main reason for plasti dipping and wrapping the car was to protect the car. That was my whole thing, because I just got it back from rust warranty and the paint was perfect. Like they polished it. It looked so good. I plasti dipped it the next weekend because I wanted to protect the paint, right? And then after I moved the plasti dip, I made sure it got wrapped like the next week, right?
Yeah. Wait, you plasti dipped the whole car?
Yeah, my Jetta used to be plasti dipped blue.
What?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the whole car. The whole car. I was one of those guys. This was back in 2018. Yeah, 2018. Yeah. And the best part of it is because, Tony, you know me, I'm very analytical. I'm very meticulous guy. When people saw it, they thought it was wrap.
I could never see plasti dipping.
And even a wrap shop, the wrap shop that I took it to, they're like, oh, who wrapped this? And I'm like, oh, no, it's just plasti dip. And they're like, no way, the plastic dip looks like crap. What are you talking about?
Right.
And I was like, no, like this is plastic dip. And I think I even I peeled off my mirror just to prove to them that it was plastic dip. I'm pretty sure because they didn't.
Peeled your,
Yeah. Well, I had to. It was easy to I think I had a ding on it or something already
Oh,
too.
fair enough.
So I had to peel it anyways. But yeah, it's. I did it for protection. So then when it was silver, everyone was like, dude, the paint's in such good condition. But I'm like, this was my whole thing, because my end goal kind of was to, like, after I'm done with the wraps and I'm at my point to enjoy the car, I enjoy it silver till the end of its life. And that's it, right? Because the paint's perfect at the end of its life rather than having to continuously maintain.
Definitely increases that resale value. I used to sell cars too. Yeah. So I know that world quite well. And actually, I'll give you a really good example. So my brother just bought a 24 WRX, and it's all they had at the time there. All they had was silver on the in the inventory. It was, I think, like 4 months for them to get a black one, and he wasn't going to wait the 4 months. He needed a car like yesterday.
Yeah.
So I mean, we already knew he's going to wrap it regardless of what color he got. So we wrapped it, and it got somewhat side swiped, just no dents, luckily, but the driver door, the rear passenger door handles all scratched. Now I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to do a video on this too, where like underneath it's just going to be flawless. Now I'm not going to go and say that the cosmetic wrap is meant for this, but I've seen this in multiple scenarios. I've had a personal vehicle of mine, reversed right into the fender, scratched the whole fender. I removed the wrap, paint was fine.
Yeah,
we got PDR done, and that was it. Right? You don't have a big paint job done on the side of the car anymore. So there's a lot of benefits to wrapping a car. It allows the paint to age naturally. Like I guess you're saying, you're kind of alluding to yourself, and now what's happening in the industry is they're blending PPF with wrap.
That's exactly what Hexus is doing, right? Yeah. Hexus Canada, right? And other brands too.
I don't know when this is coming out, but 3M is going to be launching it too.
Yeah.
And there you go.
You know what?
In very, very shortly.
I've been alluded to, because I worked in like basically this industry before, right? With Driven and stuff. Like, I knew about the 3M releasing that years ago. Like XPEL was a title sponsor, and 3M wanted to be a sponsor, and XPEL's like, no, because they're releasing something soon that's going to compete with us, and no one knew about this, but XPEL did. Because competitors, like, there has to be some corporate espionage or something happening there.
Send a spy in.
100%. There's always spies in places. You never know. So hey, for all we know, you could be Simran's best friend, just checking out the shop this weekend.
There we go.
Simran's one of our bosses.
I was going to say, I don't know who Simran is, but yeah, shop looks good. It's
good.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically kind of where we're at. Yeah.
Let's go back to which topic were we on there?
How much time are we at?
I think we're like we had a little bit of a delay there.
We did have like a 2-minute delay.
Yeah. We just passed over 30 minutes of actual podcast time, I'd say.
Okay.
So,
well, we talked about color variants. We talked about prep. We talked about material. I don't know what else is
we didn't finish the original topic of the new 3M stuff. Versus like the other materials that exist, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I actually I was one of the installers that got a chance to test the new material that's out. So it's not necessarily 2080. They have a new formulated. So it's like almost zero orange peel. It still has a plastic cap for application. So if you want like a gloss black roof, this is actually a really good product to use. They just checked off, I think, every box for it. It's just up to like long-term durability now to really see that test. But that's like on a case basis, because we discussed, are you going to take care of the vehicle? Yeah. Where are you, driving it, and whatever have you. Aside from that, like I think you were saying earlier about colors. You were a little upset about like colors not coming out.
So I was actually talking about going to the brands and the changes in the industry. Like I was surprised with Avery, right? Like Avery at one point was a leader. Like they when they released their color shift, everyone was going for the Avery color shift because they liked it better than 3M or what other brands had. But now Avery hasn't changed anything. I feel like it's they've actually decreased their color selection, and they haven't had new things. Like they were innovators at one point. Like I remember they had like some unique yellows that no one was able to offer because they were like worried about color degradation and stuff like that over time. But Avery went out and they're like, here's our yellows and stuff like that, and others followed suit, right?
Yeah, they have some really, like I said, like I mean, I would use 3M, Avery, KPMF. Those are my go-tos, and I usually find a solution within that. But I totally understand your struggle with like figuring color, because I'm the same way. I get bored, and I've had these conversations with reps too, like, when you guys launching new colors, right? This is an industry where people want to change the color of their vehicle, and you don't have new colors. So it's like seeing the same shirt in your closet the whole time, or same shirt in the store or whatever the whole time, right? Like, oh shit, been there, saw that, and
actually,
move on to somewhere else, right?
On that topic, that actually shows to like why some other brands were able to enter the market, because when Innosotech came in,
new colors.
People were like, oh, like they weren't too sure, but because of their color selection and unique high gloss finish, people went crazy for Innosotech, right? At one point, like when they first came out, like Alex Choi worked with Innosotech, like all these big YouTubers did, because I guess they went for the big branding, and it worked out because I have an Innosotech now, and at one point I'd be like, I never pay that much for a wrap for a material, right? Because it is not cheap by any means.
And the way they do the yardage too, it's like you're kind of stuck with buying, I think, almost a second roll. They had
exactly
purposely done it,
enough to my trunk had to be redone. They had exactly enough material to do my trunk, and that's it. And that was a full size roll that I paid. Like that price, it would have been $2,500 for that one roll of material.
And then I think the removability. This is not, and I'm not shitting on them, mind you, right? It's just more of a like I know that because these are some of the questions I get to. The removability, I think, is a little bit different. I think they want you to remove it up to 3 year.
I'm not sure. I'm not.
So it could be like. It's been a long day today, so I can't really remember it off the top of my head, the spec sheet. But I believe it's up to 3 year removability, whereas I think you get like up to 5 with some other brands. So that's another thing to consider. So when you're, whether, you guys are calling me up or something like that for a wrap, or you go to your favorite wrap person, like, I hope that they would kind of go through all that with you. Like, how long do you plan on having this on there? Whatever have you. But back to the color part, I totally feel your frustration, and you're absolutely right where, like other brands were allowed to kind of like, fill that, that void, right? Like APA or APA. In,
supply and demand, right? If somebody wants something, you'd be like, well, I got that. I can do it.
Yeah. And that's exactly how Innosotech got me, because I looked at their colors and I was like, no one can compare to this color and finish at this point. I've heard, and at that time, there was a little bit of backlash on Innosotech with like their bird droppings were ruining the wrap.
That's everything. Realistically, that's
bird dropping ruins everything.
It'll do paint. It's like acidic, right? So tree sap, bird droppings, like all that stuff. If you let it sit on there, especially in summer, and it cakes on, right, that you're gonna end up you're kind of done, right? At that point, right? So it's got to stay on top of it.
Your best investment, if you put any kind of visual application on your car, is really to ceramic it, because like there's just,
even with that, I
to
feel
protect everything.
Even with that, like people get lazy after it's ceramic coated because they're like, oh, it's ceramic coated, I don't have to detail, I don't have to wash it. It's ceramic, it's safe. I'm like, no, dude, like you
still have to take care of it.
You 100% have to do it, right? And so I mean, that's really as any brand, if a bird on your car, like get it off, right? And
even with regular paint,
100%. But I do know that a lot of the reason, this is the kind of backup, like 3M, I know for a fact 3M did it like this. I'm going to assume Avery is the same reason. The reason why that they pulled back on colors is because at the time COVID, when that happened, they had a shortage of raw materials to make the vinyl. So they looked through their sales book and they're like, okay, well, what color doesn't sell? Okay, this pink doesn't sell, this yellow doesn't sell, this green. So let's like direct all that, raw material to more black, white, whatever it is that's more common. So that's what happened. Now, I know 3M, they're just trying to make different kinds of moves right now. And trust me, I've had this conversation with my rep numerous times, but they're definitely trying to make different moves, like with the PPF, the color PPF coming out. I think we should see some new colors this year, from what I hear.
Yeah, let's hope so.
But because yes, I agree, I'm getting bored of it. At the same time, Avery, I don't know what's going on there. But
3M, you can kind of understand because they have so many moves in the market. They do so much.
They do,
right? Whereas Avery is not as a big brand, right? But maybe where we'll kind of start to end off here.
Mm-hmm.
We told you that we were thinking of potentially going with Vivid for our wrap. What's your opinion? And if an opinion, what should we reconsider to going with?
Or next time, because this is just. I mean, this BMW, it's about the parts and what parts Avatar can do for a broken car. Right. So we went with more of a cheaper option in terms of wrap, but next time, or somebody who is definitely looking for a better option, just go over that with us, I guess.
Or if there are similar priced options too, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, you're really talking, it's probably just a few $100s more.
Basically it is.
That's all it is. So just spend the extra couple $100, make your life easier. Yeah. And it's not shit on Vivid, but there's levels to this, right? And
as a and this is what I would tell people. Maybe you can agree or disagree with me. Right. Vivid is cheap, but is not a beginner vinyl, I would say, because it is so hard to work with. Yeah. Like if my first wrap was a 3M. Right, material,
or even Avery,
I would have thought I was a rap star because. But then again, I worked with Vivid, and then I picked up a 3M to do my buddy's car, and I was like, "This is cheesecake! Like you don't have to reheat 1,000. I don't have to lift. I don't have to throw out all this extra material." But like pluses and minuses,
and that's what you're paying for, though. That extra couple $100 is like removability. How are you going to have to clean the adhesive off? And I'm not saying that other brands don't leave adhesive. I'm just saying, you get what you pay for.
Yeah,
always with everything, especially also wrapping tables.
Yes,
pay $20 for a roll of table wrap.
After this, I want to find out a little bit more about what happened. So.
We'll go over it.
So Dane, what do you recommend we do? What brand should we go with? Keep in mind the color selection is we're going for like a satin or a matte white. Which
that's easy then. Satin or matte white?
Yeah.
Well, you want satin white.
Ideally, yeah.
Matte will. You don't want to go down that.
No,
road.
we're going for we were going to get the Vivid.
And what
satin
part?
white.
It's a BMW.
Yeah, the 335.
You know what's nice about satin? It shows off. It pronounces all the body lines.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Whereas the matte's gonna dull it down. Satin. The way I explain it to my guy customers is like it's like when a woman wears lingerie.
Yeah.
Right. And guys, you know what I'm talking about. And it's designed to actually show off her curves. Right. It's silk.
We won't go into more detail.
Yeah. Right.
You don't have to add images to this one, Tony.
Yeah. So that's what it's designed for, to show off her curves. And it's the same thing with satin. It's like a silky finish. So all the body lines that the manufacturer has spent like how much money designing that gets hidden with a gloss wrap or whatever have you, this is going to show everything off.
Yeah.
So that's a great and it's going to make it easier for you to clean too.
Yes.
Compared to matte.
Yes,
right?
100%.
So
especially white.
Yeah. So what I would say is you mentioned brands.
Yeah.
I mean, versus anything else.
Just do it right the first time, right? Go with Avery or 3M.
Does 3M currently offer a satin white?
They have a satin. I think they have a satin pearl. I know Avery 100% has a satin pearl white. I think 3M does have a satin pearl white.
If they have it in stock too, because that's the thing. Because I was gonna go with I don't even remember what brand it was. It wasn't Vinyl Frog because they don't even have satin colors.
Don't do that.
Whoa, no,
don't do that.
Okay,
everyone's going crazy.
Do you like your life?
Really? Is it worse? Is it that much worse? Oh my God!
No, let's not go there.
Oh, okay. So
you know where they get you? I'll tell you where these companies get you, and I know we gotta cut this because we're over time here.
No
but
worries.
It's valuable information.
Yeah.
They get you because the color. People see the color.
Yeah.
And
see
like,
the color.
Whoa, that's sick. That's wicked. But the trade-off is exactly what you're telling everybody right now is that I've had a hard time dealing with this. Certain things have happened, and I'm not saying it cannot happen with a certain batch of film. However, in most cases, and I've wrapped a lot with 3M and Avery and KPMF, a lot, and I can't even tell you like issues that I've really ever had.
Yeah.
Right. So make your life easy, buy it right the first time, and you're off to the races from there.
Yeah. You know what? That's and maybe like on that bombshell where we'll end off is like that's the decision I did with going with the Nosotech. It was like mixed reviews at the end of the day, but like if it's a premium product, let's see how this premium product holds up. And honestly, like this is the same amount of time I've had wrap both the Vivid and the Nosotech. The Nosotech still looks incredible, right? Compared to maybe because like I use the same ceramic coating. I use the same products, but the Nosotech still looks like paint almost to me.
Was it easier to work with than the?
No. The Nosotech is very. It's a cast calendar vinyl, right?
Oh, yeah. So and how about the Vivid? Is Vivid gonna be
Vivid? Pain? I've had. Oh man, I feel like I'm shitting on Vivid. I'll say it.
They didn't want to sponsor us, so. We had to pay for their product, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I had at the time, I don't know if they still do it. So I had a lot of customers that used to, they used to request like, Dane, can you order some, material for me and stuff like that. And even up to today, I do. And they're like, can you get this Vivid color? Can you get this Vivid? So this is like years ago. We're talking like maybe 8 years ago. And, so I'd buy and I accumulated these wrap coins they used to have.
Yeah.
And eventually I'm like, when am I going to do this stuff, right? So I used to buy like knifeless tape and whatever that I needed. But then it's just like I had accumulation of that too. I'm like, okay, so let me just, I'll buy a roll of vinyl. Let me just mess with it and I'll wrap my car. So I wrapped, I had an RSX at the time and I wrapped that. And like, I know exactly what you're talking about with Vivid.
Yeah.
It's not the worst that I've worked with, but the vinyl separated from the adhesive. So the adhesive stuck to the car.
What?
The vinyl separated. So I'm seeing the bubbling and I'm like, why is this bubbling? It's like the curvature in that area. It's like, the door panel, it just kind of swoops in just a little bit, like at the bottom, right? Nothing recessed, something crazy recessed. And it started bubbling. I was like, what? And so when I unwrapped the car, then I saw it's separated from the adhesive.
Wow.
So I don't know what it's like today. I mean, that's 8 years ago.
To think about.
A lot of brands have changed in the years.
Well, hopefully they're not like that anymore because we're.
Did you bring it up to them?
We have it planned.
What?
Vivid. Did you bring up like so here's another thing to consider too. Is the manufacturer going to have your back?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We reached out to them. They didn't want to do a sponsorship with us. So we looked to working with other brands and still looking around because obviously, the big shots, they don't notice us yet.
Yeah.
We just hit 1,000 subscribers though on YouTube.
So yeah. We're getting there.
Famous.
Not as big as our other platforms. You know what? We'll look back at this and laugh because you know what? 1,000 isn't huge, but
it's a milestone though. Like the road to 1,000 is probably one of the harder ones. On YouTube. It used to be a lot easier, but now it's like they make it harder.
It's kind of the truth because once you're at like a certain milestone that unlocks additional features, it also unlocks more in the algorithm. It has to. Because now you can go live. Now you have features to actually look at what hashtags work. Like under 1,000, you don't even get to see which of your hashtags are working. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So
do you guys watch rap videos on YouTube?
I used to.
I watched some. I used to watch rap competitions.
Yeah. Do you find it satisfying, or is it like a because some people
it's satisfying, but it makes me discouraged because I'm like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to try that. And now I'm like, I'm in a.
Yeah.
But then I tried wrapping a table, and I was like, how am I gonna ever wrap a car? Like I think it was just two different scenarios, but now I'm like scared to wrap anything.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll figure. I'll solve that issue for you very quickly.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, because I get customers that are like, like you should. Because I'm trying with the reels and everything like that, but YouTube's like now a new venture for me.
Oh yeah.
And I have yet to put the first one. I have like an absurd amount of content, and I think I overthink the whole like it's got to look like this, got to do this, and then it's just like what, man, just get it out. Just
the thing about YouTube is. Well, what I've always thought is you can have the same content with like 14 different people, and one will be doing a lot better than the other guy.
Right.
And it all comes down to personality. You have to show yourself.
Yeah.
People, they don't like your video. They like you.
You're 100%.
They come back for you.
Yeah.
Right, that's why Mr. Beast does so well. Like, because they actually like how he's so energetic and he's so fun, and it's not all about the money and the stupid ideas. They just like him. Yeah. Right. Well, anyways, right. we're definitely we're definitely off track again.
So okay. On that bombshell, we'll see if we can get away from Vivid and look into other brands. And we invite you to take a look at Mr. True North Auto Salon, Mr. Dane's beautiful finishes. He's done some incredible wraps, so he definitely has the right to talk about wraps and that expertise.
Damn right. Yeah, it's more so this is the time of year that people are just trying to get into wrap, right? Like, it's usually starts off after the auto show around February. That's when you start seeing things kind of pick up, but the weather has a little bit to play with this year. So, I'm out of Milton, True North Auto Salon. Just give me a shout. I can't really give prices because there's so many variables associated with that, but
no, I get it,
man. Yeah. But yeah, give me a shout. I'll be happy to get you guys a quote and taken care of and wrapped up.
Awesome.
So
we could even have him come supervise us for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
watching the wrap job.
I don't know if we can afford that. I don't know if we can afford that.
I'll just do one of my first YouTube videos, and I'll kind of just be watching.
Perfect.
That'd be actually pretty.
You could just roast us. How about that?
Yeah.
That would do great.
Roasting Parts Avatar's wrap.
Actually, if you want your first YouTube video, the best way to do it would be to come work with us at one point, because
it's a good
videographer. Video host, we already got half the team right there. So
right.
Anyways,
thank you so much for joining us on this little adventure.
Yep. Appreciate you. Thank you.
If you guys have more wrap questions, drop them down. Let us know, and we'll have Dane back on.
All right. Thank you, Al. Appreciate it.
Remember, Parts Avatar has got your back, so don't forget to subscribe to the Parts Avatar channel so you don't miss any of these exciting videos.